Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames CE Days of Decision 3 combined game playthrough number 2. This will be the February. This will be the May-June 1936 turn. Hopefully we might even get July, August done as well. I don't really see a whole lot going on the map, so it's a possibility. So let's take a minute and we will check out the starting money. Before I start in with the money for this turn that each major power has, I want to make a quick note about the January-February turn. I had made a mistake. I forgot to add in the protectionist +1 production point for each major power. And what it did is it cost 2 fascist powers a build point each and 2 democracies a build point each. Rather than go back and try to fix it, I'm just going to keep moving forward at this point. 2 to each side, really, I don't really think it's going to make a big difference. We'll just move on from there. Okay, starting money. So we have Germany at 3, Japan at 0, Italy at 2, the Soviet Union at 0, the Commonwealth at 1, France at -1, the US at 0, and China at 2. Now I've recorded the initial bids, or the bids for each major power. So let's take a look at that. So we have seems to be a little bit too low. Let's move them up a bit. All right, we got Germany is bidding. Basically, we have 4 major powers, and they're all bidding just 1 point because there isn't a whole lot of money floating around in this game right now. So we have Germany bidding 1. They're in the first initiative position, so that gives them a +4 for 5. We have Italy bidding 1. They're in the third position, which gives them a +3 for 4. We have the Commonwealth bidding 1. They're in the fourth position for a +2, gives them 3. And France is bidding 1 because they have to get something done this turn. They're in the fifth position, and that gives them a +2 for 3. So let's take a look at how the political initiative is going to shake out. Here's the track. Trying to keep the glare down from my lights. The board is covered with plexiglass. It does help quite a bit in saving wear and tear on the board. But unfortunately, it reflects the lights, so can't have everything, I guess. So we got Germany at 5. That's going to put Germany in the first initiative position. We have Italy at 4. That's going to put Italy in the second initiative position. The Commonwealth and France have 3 each, but the Commonwealth's political initiative is the same as the French over here. They are both on the 3 box. So in that case, their political effectiveness is tied, their bids are tied. Come on. There's always one counter that you just can't get a hold of. It goes by the current order. So in this case, the Commonwealth will be in 3rd, France will be in 4th. The last card marker on Germany, and the last card marker on France. So the rest of the non-bidding powers, we have Japan at +3. That will put them down at 5th. The Soviets at +1, along with the U.S. at +1. Now the U.S.'s political effectiveness is a 2. Subtracting 1 for the London Naval Treaty gives them a net 1. The Soviets are a 4. Subtracting 1 for the London Naval Treaty gives them a net 3. So in that case, the Soviets beat the U.S. and it will maintain its current order. And then we have China in last place. I haven't had to adjust the naval ratios yet because nobody has actually received a naval reinforcement. But when that happens, I will let you know what the new naval ratios are, and I will actually go over the naval ratios and all that stuff at that particular time. So with the bid set and the order set, let's take a look at what Germany wants to do. Germany is on a tear, politically that is anyways. And what she is going to do is she's going to try to sign a minor alliance. I can see that. I think we can get that. Yep. Okay. This option may not be the prerequisites. This option may not be played on a minor in civil war, or that is, that war has been declared war on this impulse turn. May only be played on the 28 minors that have political markers. This is going to be one of those. Each minor country may have up to 2 alliances. This particular minor country has none. Apply treaty chart if successful. We're not breaking our own alliance. Okay, so this option is essential for bringing a minor alliance into a war on your side, and we'll go over that when war actually happens. That's a few years away. It's going to take a roll of a die. The die is modified as follows. You add 1 to the result for each factory or resource marker you have in a minor. Well, the minor is Finland, and there are no resource or factory markers in Finland from Germany. I'm going to add the minor's willpower. Let's take a look at what the willpower is. This is Finland. And Finland's, where are you? Finland's willpower is a 5. It's right down here. So that's going to give a +5. Subtract the initiative position of Germany, which is a 1, so that's a +4. Subtract the distance in hexes on the status display. Let's go take a look at that and get an idea of that. The status display is right here. If I can get them both in. There we go. Here's Germany. Here's Finland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're subtracting 5 from 4. That gives us a -1. Back over to the chart. Subtract 2 if the minor is hostile to you. Now, the way you tell if a minor is hostile, you take the minor's marker and you flip it over. And if there's a lightning bolt with a name on the back side of it, in this case, Finland is hostile to the USSR, the Soviet Union. So it's not hostile to Germany. Subtract 3 if you're trying to break the alliance. We're not doing that. So that gives us a net of -1 to the die. If the result is more than 0, you succeed in making or breaking the alliance. So we'll roll the die. The die roll is a 6, so the alliance is signed. Now I got to dig out the treaty chart and apply all the effects, as well as note that Germany now has an alliance with Finland. And I'll come right back and Germany will get to activate a minor. Okay, I've recorded all the effects of signing that minor alliance with Finland. The interesting ones are the Baltic state got a +2 for Germany. Finland got a +3 for Germany and also has a -2 for the Soviets. And Sweden got a +1, which turned that one that was already there into a +2. Now, Germany originally thought that she was going to activate Finland, but that would lose a point. So there's 3 points there, and each hex is going to cost 2 points, basically. So I would end up sacrificing, or Germany would end up sacrificing a point. And we don't really want to do that. Germany wants to maximize her points and maximize her minor alliances and minor allies as much as possible. So I think what the Germans are going to do is they are going to activate Sweden. So we'll grab the markers. We'll come over here to the status display. Alright. Oh, well, I got Finland on the top of the pile. But what I need is Sweden. And I think, if I remember correctly, it's on the bottom. So we'll dig her out. Right there, right on the top. Let's put the markers out. See what we got here. We got a 2 German, a 1 US, a -1 Commonwealth, and a -1 Soviet. Now, if you recall, it takes 2 points to move the marker when it's in the neutral zone here. Now, Sweden doesn't have any allies, any alliances with any other major powers, so moving away from other major powers is not going to affect, it's not going to be in effect here. So basically, each hex is going to cost 2 points. So all these -1s, the -1 for the Soviet, that's blown off. The -1 for the Commonwealth is blown off. The +1 for the US is blown off. The 2 for the Germans is going to move the marker. Oh, I'm going to move the marker 1 hex. I'm going to put it down here with Chile. Swedish meatballs with chili. Sounds good. Alright, so that whole thing, after I paid all the money, Germany is now at -3, which is not really great from the German perspective, but they're at least they're trying to get some stuff done. So, let's go back over here. I have to roll a die to see if Germany ends the political phase, which will make the other countries really unhappy. I rolled a 4. So, we will move on. The last card marker moves down 1 to Italy. Now let's see what the Italians want to do here. The Italians, because their economy is really garbage at this point, they want to sign a minor economic agreement. Right there. I think we've been over this before. The only thing we're going to make sure is that Italy's initiative position is greater than the willpower of the country they want to sign a minor economic agreement with. And that is going to be Spain. So let me dig out Spain. It's right here. Okay. Spain's willpower, no, that's Sweden. Spain's willpower is a 3. So Italy's initiative position is a 2, so they're all set for that. So Italy will sign a minor economic agreement with Sweden, with Spain, and secure one of the resources in Spain for the Italians to use. And there are 4 resources in Spain, so the only political effect this is going to have is going to put a +1 Italian marker in Spain. So I will do that. I will pay the money, and I'll be back with Italy activating minor. Okay, the Italians have looked over the board. They put their +1 political influence marker in Spain. And I think there really isn't a lot of good options out here. I mean, Italy's thinking about Yugoslavia. It does have a +2 Commonwealth there, but I'll show you why they're thinking about that. They're also thinking about Turkey. There's a -2 Commonwealth marker in Turkey, so they're kind of thinking about that. They're also thinking, well, help the Germans out a little bit. We got a -1 in Hungary. So they're sort of thinking about that too. However, I think what they're going to go with, Yugoslavia. Yeah, we're going to go with Yugoslavia. We're going to grab the markers. We're going to come over here to the status display. Okay, here's the 2 markers. We have a -1 Soviet and a +2 Commonwealth. Now, the thing about Yugoslavia is that she has alliances with both Russia and France. So it's going to cost an additional point to move away from either the French or the Russians. There's no plus for moving towards them, okay? So we have a -1 for the Russians. It's still going to cost 2 points to move here, and it's also going to cost an additional 1 for moving away from Russia. So that's going to get blown off. And we have 2 for the Commonwealth. Now, that's enough to get to this hex. Unfortunately, Yugoslavia has an alliance with, unfortunately for the Commonwealth, Yugoslavia has an alliance with Russia, which means it would cost an extra point to go here, which it costs 3. So this +2 Commonwealth is blown off. Alright, so that's going to do it for the Italian turn. Let's go over here, roll a die, and see if Italy ends the political phase. Now, one political option has already been played, so it's going to be a 1 or a 2. A 7, and the political phase will continue. The Commonwealth, knowing that probably the one minor country that is most susceptible to a coup is Spain. And a little bit of experience from previous games, don't really think the Democrats want a fascist coup happening in Spain, and the fascists, for some reason or somehow, managed to get Spain as a minor ally. That's a real bad thing for the fascists. So, the Commonwealth is going to pay the money, and they're going to plant a coup cell in Spain. And what does a coup cell do? A coup cell negates another major power's attempt to coup that minor. So they'll attempt to coup the minor, and the Commonwealth can activate their coup cell, and the coup is basically canceled. So there is no U.S. entry, no minor effects, and that's about it. Costs $6, and we don't activate a minor because it's a 0 political option. And all I have to do is roll to see if the political phase ends. So this will be a -2 to the die for 2 previous political options played. A 9, and the political phase will continue. Okay, we're moving on to France, and France is gonna pick international option 10. The one thing I didn't mention about these international options is that each international option may only be played once per turn. So if somebody plays if a major power plays a minor economic alliance, and another major power later in the political phase wants to play a minor economic alliance, they can't, because it's already been used. So we'll just make sure we clarify that a little bit. And so France is going to call an election. Why? Because all the democracies have to have elections. The French have to have an election sometime every year. The Commonwealth has to have an election sometime every 3 years. The U.S. elections are on the November-December turn of 1936, 1940, 1944. And China, I think, has to have an election too. I don't remember. I think it's like every 5 years. I don't remember exactly, but it's a long period of time. Let's see. So in China must hold an election once every 5 years. Yes, okay. So the cost for this to the French is 1 money. If they didn't hold their election this year, next year, they're mandated to hold an election as their first political option that they play. So they want to make sure they get this out of the way as soon as they can every year. So it's going to cost 1 money. With their bid is 2. It's going to drive France down to a -3. So that's going to be, at the end of this political phase, that's going to be 3 major powers at -3 money right now. So yeah, these major powers are spending some serious cash. Anyway, there is no minor country effects. There's no U.S. entry. However, the French will be allowed to select a minor country, to activate a minor country. And let's go see who they might want to activate. There's really not a lot of good options here. I think what the French are going to do, I could activate Austria. There's a +1 Soviet and a -1 Commonwealth there. They could activate, that really doesn't help them. Romania really doesn't do anything. They really don't want to activate Turkey. Where are you, Turkey? Right there. Really don't want to activate that. There's nothing really out here in Asia for them to activate. Whole lot of minuses. There's really nothing in the Americas to activate. I think what the French will do, I don't really want to get rid of that one positive there. I think they're going to activate the Netherlands. There's nothing but a whole lot of negative in there, so whatever happens, happens. So we'll gather up the markers. We'll come over to the status display. I have to dig out, let me get rid of that marker from the previous. Let me put the markers out. We got a -2 Commonwealth, a -3 Japan, -1 Germany, and a +1 US. So somewhere in here is the Commonwealth. I should have dug it out. I didn't. Again, I found you. There you go. This will get easier and easier as the game goes on because these markers end up spreading out all over the place. Alright, so I don't really think the order makes any difference at all. So let's just activate them in order. We'll do the -2 Commonwealth. Commonwealth is over here. It's going to drive it that way. It's going to push the Netherlands to here. Then we'll do the -3 Japan. Japan's over here. So it's going to push the marker this way. And the Soviets kind of look at that and go, And we got a -1 German. The that's not going to do anything. And a +1 US. That's really not going to do anything. So that's it for the political phase. I will roll initiative and roll the weather, and we will take a look at the reinforcements for this turn. Okay, I've rolled initiative. The initiative came down as the Democrats rolling a 6, with a -1 is 5. The Soviets rolling a 5 with a +1 is 6, and the Fascists rolling a 4 with a +2 is 6. Now, the Fascists won the tie because they were before the Soviets in movement order last impulse. So, that being said, the Fascists decided to go last, and the Soviets decided to go after the Democrats. So we have Democrat, Soviet, Fascist. The weather roll was a 1, which is atrocious weather for May, June. However, there was a +2 from last turn, so it ended up being a 3. So we have rain in the Arctic, North Temperate, Mediterranean clear, storm in North Monsoon, rain in South Monsoon, and clear in South Temperate. The weather roll has a +1 for next turn, and the impulse marker moves up 1. Let's take a look at reinforcements for May, June. There isn't much. There is not much. So for the May, June turn, we have 2 ships appearing face down. They'll both go into the construction pool. We have the Kumano and the Zueho, 2 Japanese ships heading for the construction pool. That's, oh no, we also have a French territorial that's showing up. That is for Tunisia. Kind of dark over here. Alright, now that's for Tunisia. So let's go back over here, and when we come back, we will start with the first impulse. Okay, we'll start with the Democrat impulse. Well, China, the Commonwealth, and the U.S. are packed. They don't really need to do anything at all. The Commonwealth is controlling Ethiopia, but there's basically one unit left, so there's really not much to do there. However, the French, they got their territorial in Ethiopia, territorial in Tunisia, down here. It's actually underneath this 3-3 unit. It's right there. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to go get their 3-3 unit. They know they need all the help they can get in mainland France. So what they're going to do is they're going to send their transport out into the Western Mediterranean. It's going to go out, boop, right here. And going to load up the 3-3. And he will return to port at the end of the impulse. Okay, that's basically it for the Democrats. We'll move up the impulse marker. Okay, communists, done. Okay, move up the impulse marker. Fascists, okay, the Japanese have another unit they want to send over to the mainland. But what we're really going to concentrate on here is in Ethiopia. Alright, the Italians are looking forward to finally getting rid of the Ethiopian situation. Alright, so we're going to figure out what they can do. So, that's the sequence of play. Let's see. Declare war, no. Okay. Port attacks, no. Naval air mission, no. Naval movement, not for the Italians. No naval combat, no strategic bombardment. Ground strikes. So let's see if the Italians want to do a ground strike. They might need their air factors to actually get their odds that they want. So there's 2 defending factors, which become 4 in the mountains. It's clear down here. So the Italians have 6 here, 8, 12, and 4 is 16. And this is halved, so that's 17 and a half, 19 and a half, which will, if I use the air for ground support, which will round to 20 to 4 would be a 5-1. So they actually need the air power to get their 5-1. Okay, so let's send the air power over as ground support. Okay. Okay, invade and pair drops. Okay, so we're gonna use HQ support. Obviously, the defender will use HQ support. Actually, we don't really need to, because HQ support is the attacker minus the defender divided by 4. Well, in this case, the defender, which is a 1, divided by 4 is 0.25, rounds to a 0. So it's not going to make a difference. So we'll just leave it like that. And so we got 5-1 straight up. 5-1 straight up. We're going to take the assault table. Let's see what we get. A 1 would be really bad. 7. 5-1 with a 7 is star 2S. So all the Italians are going to stay face up. The Haile Selassie is gone. He's dead. This guy has to go face down because he was ground support. And we're going to occupy the hex with this 3-3. And Ethiopia is officially conquered. It will be soon enough. The Japanese sent out their transport. They're going to transport an artillery unit to the mainland this time. That's all they're going to do. I don't see anything else happening, so what I'm going to do is just run through the turn and then give a brief summary at the end of the turn, just before we start production. The turn ended rather early, despite relatively good weather and an impulse marker moving up only 1 box per impulse. It ended on the fastest turn, which was the 12th impulse. So it was kind of really short turn. So I did production. I returned everything to base, and now I did production, and it looks like something like this. So Germany produced 7, spent 3. She's building a pilot. Actually spent 4, I'm sorry. And she's laying down the Bismarck. So she spent 4. That's going to leave her 0 for next turn. The Japanese produced 3, spent 3. They will also have 0 for next turn. They built 2 convoy points and a tanker point. The Italians produced 2, spent 0. They're going to be at -1 for next turn. But a lot of these major powers were already in the hole before production started. Especially the Commonwealth was way down there. All right. The Soviet Union, they produced 3, they spent 4, so they're going to be at -1. The Commonwealth produced 5, they spent 2, they're still at -4. The Soviets, they actually laid down a heavy cruiser, the Molotov. Yeah, the Molotov, and built a infantry army. French built nothing. Commonwealth, they built a convoy point and a tanker point. The U.S. is pulling the Yorktown out of the construction pool for her second cycle. That's a cost of 3. They produced 3. China produced 1. They spent 3, and they will have 0 for next turn. So I will get these on the circle, and I think we're just going to roll right into July, August here. All right, let's go with the July, August turn. Let's take a look at starting money. We have pretty much a common theme. Nobody has any money whatsoever. Germany at 0, Japan at 0, Italy at -1, Soviet Union at -1, the Commonwealth at -4, France at 1, so they're the richest nation, the US at 0, and China at 0. Now, with all this money that these major powers have, I thought they would go on a massive spending spree, but none of them want to do that. They're so far in debt that none of them, they know they all got to build a little bit of military. None of them wants to get saddled with the -1 PE modifiers like the US and the Soviets have right now. In fact, the US and the Soviets are trying to get out of those right now. There hasn't been any ship reinforcements, so I haven't had to adjust any of the PE ratios, but I think next turn we're going to end up with some ships coming on the board, so I will actually have to go and adjust some of the ships, the London Naval Treaty ratios. I'll do that probably right after reinforcements, and I'll let you know what the new ratios are. So I've recorded the bids for the major powers, and there's just one. There's only one nation that wants to spend money right now. And surprise, surprise, it's going to be Japan. They only bid 1. They're the only bidder. So we'll go over here to the initiative track. Obviously, they're going to be first. I'll take the 2 last card markers and move everybody over here. We also have to note that both Italy and Japan will be eligible for gear up soon. So both of those major powers probably ought to start saving a little money for that, because those gear ups are really expensive. So we got Japan bidding 1 with a +2 is 3. They get the first spot. And the first and last card marker will be right there with Japan. Now the rest of the field, we got Germany at +4. They're going to be 2. Italy and the Commonwealth are tied. And we'll go over here to the political effectiveness, and we notice that Italy and the Commonwealth are both at 3. So in that case, it's current order. The French are at a +2. They'll get 5th. Soviet Union and the U.S. are tied. We come over here to the political effectiveness to break the tie. We see the Soviets are at 4, -1 because of the London Naval Treaty. That's a 3. And the U.S. is 2, -1 because of the London Naval Treaty. That'll be a 1, so the Soviets will win that tie. U.S. will be 7th, and China will be 8th. Alright, let's see what Japan wants to do. Pretty sure I already know. I wrote it down, so I probably ought to, right? Alright, let me dig out the book. Japan's going to sign a minor economic agreement with the Netherlands to get in oil. Obviously, she's in the first position, so the Netherlands' willpower is not less than 1. So the minor economic agreement goes through. It's going to cost 4 money plus the one that Japan bid. That's a total of 5. So that's going to drive Japan in the hole again. I'll put the marker out for Japan, which is 1 on the Netherlands. And then we get to activate a minor. Really don't know who to activate at this point. Let's take a look. Alright, let's make this quick and easy. We're going to activate Portugal, because we have a -1 in Portugal. So the -1 is not going to move the marker because it costs 2 for a hex. So that's just basically going to get blown off. And that's going to be it for the political phase. I got to adjust the money. Now we'll come right back with reinforcements. So I have rolled initiative, and we came out with a 3-way tie. The fascists rolled a 4, which is 2 is added to it for their their ideology initiative modifier. So that's a 6. The communists rolled a 5, they get a +1, so that's a 6. And the Democrats rolled a 7, they have a -1, that's a 6. So basically, reversed order from last turn. I rolled weather. I rolled a 1, which is fair weather everywhere. The impulse marker will move up 1. There's no modifier for the weather roll for next turn. Let's take a look at reinforcements. We got some reinforcements. Let's see what we got here. Yep, that's becoming a problem. Alright. You know what? I'm going to pull them off the circle and put them over here. So we got a French garrison corps. We got some pilots here. We got a German pilot, a French pilot, Commonwealth pilot. We got a transport going into the construction pool. We got 2 Soviet units. We have Timoshenko, and we have a 4-3 infantry corps, infantry army, sorry. We have the Australian ship Perth coming on the board. We have 4 Commonwealth cruisers, I believe, or 2 light cruisers and 2 heavy cruisers going into the construction pool. We have the Valiant coming on the board. We have the Salt Lake City coming on the board. We have the IE coming on the board, and we have the Admiral Scheer coming on the board. So I will have to adjust some naval ratios, and I will get back to that before we actually do anything on the board. I'll get these placed. Okay, let's take a look at the naval ratios. Okay, what I've done is I've noted the naval ratios for the different powers. Let's go across them, lowest to highest. We had the US at 31. Each combat surface ship or carrier that they build will add 1 point. The Soviet Union is at 35. Their naval multiple is a times 5, so they will get 5 points per surface combat ship or carrier. The Germans are at 40. They will get 4. Now they added a ship, so they get 4 points added to their 40. Gives them 44 for this turn. The U.S. went from 31 to 32. The French are at times 3. They didn't add anything. The Commonwealth is a times 1. They added 2 ships, so went from 64 to 66. The Italians are at times 3. And the Japanese are at times 2. They added 1 ship, so they on map. So they went from 78 to 80. So that basically is how the naval ratios work. The only thing could change is that if the U.S. or the USSR entered the London Naval Treaty, in this case, in this specific case, if the USSR did, then they would lose the -1 because they're second lowest. If the U.S. manages to supplant the USSR as being second lowest, then they would lose the -1 if they entered the London Naval Treaty. But the problem with that is that you're limited with your ship builds, and if you end up at the top, and there's a bunch of different things that go on. But I don't see any of these major powers entering the London Naval Treaty. I think most of them are just going to put up with it, right up until the point where 3 major powers are at war. Then the London Naval Treaty rules are suspended, and I can toss this piece of paper in the trash because it won't matter anymore. But it does affect the political initiative, the political effectiveness ratings of some of the major powers. So I wanted to implement these rules because it will affect things over there. I think that's probably, I didn't do it in the last playthrough I did. I think that's probably one of the mistakes I made. So for this playthrough, that's what we're going to do. So I put the reinforcements on the board. I'll show you what I did. There weren't very many reinforcements. It was basically a infantry army for the Soviets. I put that in Baku. I don't know why the Soviets are putting something in Baku. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with something down there. I put the headquarters, Timoshenko. He's over here. Where are you? Right here in Minsk with an artillery unit. The naval reinforcements I just put in the fleet, in the various fleet off map boxes here. Can't see putting anything on the map. So that's it. So I'll run through the turn, and I'll probably pick back up filming at production. Okay, I finished up production. Now let's go over it. Okay, so Germany produced 6 and saved an oil. She spent 3. She dug, I don't know who this is, the Sidlets out of the construction pool, out of the cups for her first cycle and building a pilot. Japan produced 3, spent 2. She's building a convoy point and produced, pulled the Shinyo out of the cups for her first cycle. Italy produced 2 and spent 0. The USSR produced 3 and spent 3 on another infantry army. The Commonwealth produced 5 and spent 2. She's building a convoy point and a tanker point. The French produced 2 and spent 2. They're building 2 convoy points. The French are going to try to get a convoy pipeline out to French Indochina and draw in that resource that they have out there. The USA produced 3 and spent 4. They pulled the Vincents and the Langley out of the construction pool for their second cycle. China produced 1 and spent 0. And that's about it. I'll get these builds onto the circle, and that will wrap it up for this session. Hopefully in the next day or so, probably in the next day, I'll get another turn done. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Appreciate the support. Till next time.